Hi folks, welcome to, I was going to say episode something, I don't know what episode we're on.
Million.
Welcome to the GSP Team Podcast with myself, Cilllein and Ayshea. Cilllein, you've got some topics for us to bash out today.
So we had somebody asking us, is it possible to get stronger at multiple strongman events simultaneously? And I think this is kind of like a common thing I hear a lot of people kind of asking and talking about. And I think it's that like a lot of people don't realize that you're not getting stronger really doing the events, but it's more the training you do in the gym, and then that kind of carries over into the events themselves.
Yeah, I suppose the simple answer is yes, really, though, isn't it? Like,
it is.
You absolutely can. You just got to plan your training correctly, like, you know. And I think, like, I'm assuming this person's probably at the early stages of their strongman career, are they?
Yeah, it was from a novice athlete.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're going to get the most bang from their buck in the gym, really, aren't they? Just doing their squats, deadlifts, presses, and just getting generally a lot stronger.
Yeah. Like you've seen with some people where they're starting off and they don't have a coach and they're just, they're going in and all they ever do is event day after event day after event day, and there's no actual kind of compound movements, there's no building, there's no kind of high accessory movements or anything like that. And I think it's easy to get distracted with just doing the strongman events, just because, like, it is fun to do and it looks cool and stuff like that. But if you're not really kind of putting the work in the gym, like, you can't expect to get stronger. Like, I think the only event or piece of equipment that would have a carryover is probably sandbags, in my opinion, because there's so many different ways you can train with a sandbag.
Yeah.
Rows, good mornings.
Pressing.
Yeah, there's so much.
Yeah, it's a versatile piece of kit, but it's not actually an event that you're training. If you're thinking,
what I mean?
You're breaking it down and doing different movements with a piece of equipment.
But like if you're just doing sandbag carries or sandbag to shoulder, you're not going to get that much stronger from them.
No, what you get better endurance, I suppose.
Better endurance,
but you're not actually going to get stronger, especially if you've only got like your 60 or 80. I suppose we go back to the basics of progressive overload and stuff when you're training. That's where the strength is coming in, not from just doing the same shit over and over again.
Back to the real basic fundamentals.
And I think what people tend to forget about is, your events should be your technical. You look at your technical side of things for your events when you're practicing your events. And as you said, the strength should be coming from all of your compound and accessory movements.
Yeah, like I suppose, I think we spoke about this before, like the complete, like I think someone like Josh Lancaster's on like the complete opposite end of the spectrum there, where he has like, he nearly like just trains events all the time now and does very little accessory work.
I think he's got a valid point actually after not training for 4 weeks myself. There's some validity to that.
He basically, but again, you'll come in at this different end of the spectrum as well, to a beginner or novice.
A stronger base,
Someone who's spent years doing the basics.
And
I actually seen Josh posting this morning about like how when he first started coaching strongman or doing strongman, he had a very hard time getting away from that like SBD kind of mentality of like just squat, bench, deadlift. Or squat, press, deadlift probably for him, because he was doing strongman, not powerlifting, I think. And I still think that laying that foundation by doing all that work is what's allowing him now to do nearly all just events. And he also built his work capacity up for doing a lot of event work over time as well. He's got an incredible work capacity.
Definitely,
but again, that comes down to him putting the work in and getting to that point, you know?
Absolutely.
And
it's a very unique way to train, I would say, still.
Yeah, I think especially like he's a weight class athlete as well, so he doesn't need to be putting on any more size or anything like that. But yeah, I think definitely, as you said, like it's just, even for like yourself, Ayshea, it's like you've been doing the sport for so long, and it's just like how much kind of muscle can you build, or how much of a building phase can you kind of go through? Where
Not
it's like
enough.
Exactly. I think it does. I feel like at a certain time it does kind of come to just like being a bit more kind of picky with it. But
absolutely,
I think that's kind of going back what we've talked about before, when you see novice athletes looking at what like the top end people are doing and think they have to do what they're doing, but they're not looking at all the work and all the kind of the volume that they did to actually kind of get them into that.
And I think we were kind of touching on this a little bit on the drive over about like people, again, the iceberg effect. People see this, but they don't see what's under the under the water. What needs to be put in there. So for that person as a novice, they're a novice, aren't they? A novice. By all means, I think that if you have access to your equipment, you should be, practice your skill or whatever. But your actual building is going to be done in the gym.
Like if you look at like generally how a lot of our programs work, and you would have seen it down through the years yourselves, and you'll see it with the lads in the gym here, is like particularly with the novice and beginner type people that are getting into strongman, they'll do like deadlifts and squats, and then maybe some accessories, and then hit the events at the end. Because I'm trying to get them stronger and structurally more stable with all them movements before moving on to the events. which is, that is a massive skill aspect as well to doing events, but I don't feel like they're going to get a whole lot stronger just doing the events. So we're focusing on the suppose the gym movements and accessories to get strong, then doing the strongman event. However, once you become more advanced and you'll see it in your own programs, you might do deadlifts and then you might go straight into events.
Straight into events,
or squats, deadlifts, and straight into events. And you might do accessories at the end.
At the end of it,
And if you watch like some of the more advanced lifters in here, that's probably how they're training. And it's just a couple of accessories at the end. But you've earned the right to do that, essentially. And you're at a point now where hammering yourself with accessories is going to take so much out of you because you can move so much load and output so much force with them that you then won't have enough to give to your events. So like there is and like figuring out when that is varied. It's very different person to person.
Yeah, and I think again that kind of comes back to like the importance of actually having a coach in a sport like this, because there's so many different kind of variables like that you need somebody with a bit more knowledge to kind of like I wouldn't have been able to get myself to where I am if it wasn't for like you two kind of pull me back and push me forward when it's needed. But I think it's kind of going back to it as well. Like it's just I feel like people just get too distracted by the event itself without actually breaking it down to the different parts. Like, doing front squats carries over to some, like stones, lifting sandbags, even yoke and stuff like that. Like, and it's just, they're not really kind of willing to, kind of go behind the scenes, because I think a lot of people are actually kind of surprised when I show them a bit of my program about what it actually looks like, because I think they're not expecting to see the high volume and the accessory work, and then to be doing the strongman events at the end of your training session. Everyone thinks you're just going in, just doing strongman stuff all the time. Like, and that probably takes up like maybe 10% of what we actually do in here is actually, most of it would be just
yeah, it tends to, like, would you include deadlifts in strongman events or the overhead stuff? Or are you talking just moving
deadlifts?
events?
Deadlifts and overheads would be.
They're still strongman events.
They're still strongman events, but they will be kind of like, I think maybe the exceptions to the rule, because
so we're talking about moving events and like even sandbag.
The awkward, the awkward. Let's say the awkward stuff.
The odd stuff.
The awkward stuff.
Yeah, no, you're right. It probably is like
a small fraction of it.
Like even I have when I have the beginner people in here that aren't even doing strongman, and I try to explain to them, they're like, oh yeah, you must be doing this, that, and the other. And I'm going, no, actually, look, this is my program and this is your program. There's not. It's not this massive. I'm not doing this major special program that's so different. It is different now. In a lot of ways, but the fundamentals are still there.
Absolutely,
definitely.
Especially when I'm not in comp prep. So. And again, I think it's going back to the basics and why reinvent the wheel, get stronger.
Exactly.
On your regular strong things.
For me, and we've had this conversation recently as well, where like someone is new getting into strongman, like you need to put some muscle on that frame. You need to get a bit stacked, because that'll help you with everything going forward. Like it's like get stronger at squatting and deadlifting and pressing, but also let's slap some muscle on that frame. Let's do some bodybuilding training afterwards, because that is going to also transfer into just a better, stable body. That just moves better and can handle load better and stay injury free. Whereas if you're not ready for that and you go straight into events and doing a lot of events, where are you going to get that from?
Exactly. Definitely.
Am I making sense there?
No, that does. I think as well. Like I think Stephen Wiley was talking about this recently, where it's kind of started to notice now in the strongman community online, where it's like it goes through these different phases. Like everyone's like doing grip work, and then everyone's doing sandbag work, and it keeps changing. Like, and then it's a different fad every now and then, but like. This is what's just wrong with the basics. Just go back, just hammer the basics. It doesn't have to be as complicated. You don't have to have these unique exercises actually to get better.
I think as well that's where it comes from when you said about getting a fairly decent coach or getting a coach, because it's so easy, I think, to get sucked into the social media side of things, going, oh, this is what Mitch is doing, or this is what Rob is doing. This is what
drives.
Do you know what I mean?
Crazy.
Yeah. Because Donna's doing this and Andre, so I have to just do that.
Because we've had athletes here, and they'd be coming into me every week with a different idea that they've seen on YouTube. Will you just fuck off, man? Get strong with the basics because you're fucking weak. It's like just come on now, just fucking put the head down and stop fucking getting your head into everything.
And I think that is social media has an awful. It's got so many benefits and that's fine, but it also has that negative side. So I think getting somebody who's actually going to give you some guidance, kind of put you in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think so. People don't. Either they don't stick at something for long enough, or they stick at it for too long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they might be doing like an exercise or a variation for maybe just 2 weeks, and like, oh fuck, I'll move on to a different one. Or then you get some people where they only do that actual kind of exercise or variation. There's no kind of switch around with it, like, and then things are going to stay stagnant because there's kind of that, there is that kind of bit of a sweet spot of doing something
and then of the stimulus,
and then kind of switching it around.
I think we've fairly answered that. And I suppose something I'd like to mention there as well is, if you're a novice and you're getting ready for a comp that's only got like whatever, you've got 5 set events. You've got an overhead deadlift, maybe 3 other events. It's no harm to train other events as well. You don't need to spend your next 3 or 4 months just training them 3 other events outside of the deadlift and the overhead. Say if it was a bag carry farmers and a bag load or something, you can do other stuff. You can still be getting better at yoke, and you can still do other bits and bobs and mix them in and out. I think one of the worst things people do again at that stage, and I see it a lot, is they just focus in on that competition and nothing else for that time. It's like there will be more comps after that. What if you want to do something else that's 6 weeks after, but there's a different set of events? How are you going to deal with that now? So I think don't be afraid to touch on other bits.
The other
don't
side
kill
of
yourself
that,
on them, but touch on them.
But the other side of that as well is you could get to competition and an event gets pulled because there's a malfunction or
Kit
stuff
breaks,
outside
breaks,
and they have to come inside. So
Be ready.
be ready, be a little bit versatile, be adaptable.
Be adaptable,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I'm not a fan of promoters changing events. Like again, we very rarely do it ourselves, but it can happen. Like
it does happen.
Like that one,
many
Cilllein,
times. Many times. If you know, you know.
Okay.
But I suppose the next kind of, these 3 topics kind of all tie in together anyways, but another one, we had a 16-year-old powerlifter who was looking to start Strongman, and he was just looking for some advice.
So I suppose like it does lead into exactly what we were saying there. Like, and we've got a couple of these young lads in the gym at the moment that are training the team with us here, and they're going to do their first powerlifting meet in 3 weeks actually.
It's exciting.
And like
it's very good.
It is. It's just for me, like with these 2 young lads, like I just want them to do it for experience. Hidden PBs isn't really a thing. There's only 3 weeks to prep for it, but if they do, it's great. Like, I think they're going to want to smash it out of the park because that's where their mind is at.
I was actually this morning having a conversation with one of them. It's very funny. He's like, "Am I going to be like in the 90 categories?" I said, "You're not going to diet for anything. You're just going to eat, and you're going to go in there and you're going to have fun." I said, "You're going to squat, you're going to bench, you're going to deadlift, and you're going to get." And as Alex said to him, you're going to get experience. It's about the experience. It's not about anything else.
No.
And
It's
we were
very
saying,
hard to
enjoy the damn thing.
Enjoy it while you can.
It's very hard to get it through to them though at that age.
It's so, it's like when you see like 16-year-olds are dumb as fuck when it comes to this stuff. Like, it's true, I was the same. Like, when I think back when I was 16, and like when you're a 16-year-old surrounded by other 16-year-olds in a gym, it's just bad behavior is being reinforced by bad behavior, and it's just there's a lot of mistakes get made, and it can be beneficial because it's when you get a couple of young lads like that, like they really want to just push each other and they kind of bounce back and forth, but then at the same time a lot of kind of stupid things do end up happening. Like,
I suppose the only good thing is like for those lads that are in here, they're seeing you, they're seeing Alex, they're seeing me, they're seeing people who are not like that, who we're focused in on what we're doing, we have been for a number of years. But I suppose we're now drifting away from the actual question.
So this 16-year-old, so like I suppose first things first, and you touched on it earlier, Cilllein, get a coach.
Get a coach.
If you don't have a coach and you think you know everything, you actually know fuck all. Because at 16, I hate to break it to you, kid, if you're listening to me here, but you know nothing. You know
true.
absolutely nothing. You might think you know a lot, but you don't. And there's so much more to learn, and you will fast track your progress by like 2 or 3 years by getting a coach.
100%.
And it'll stop you from getting, as long as it's a good coach, obviously, they'll stop you from getting injured as much because they're going to manage your load. They'll let you go heavy sometimes, but they're going to make you hold back at other times. And like that is something that's really important as well. When you're 16, you want to go hell for leather all the time. These young lads are every day asking me when we're going heavy again. Like, I'm like, just chill out, boys, please.
Stop, like,
Just stop, You just done a 3-rep max deadlift 2 weeks ago, like, chill out. Leave me alone.
And they were like, oh yeah, we're going to do heavy 2 now. No, you're not.
We're going to do heavy 2 this week now. No.
So I think also with around that, just with this 16-year-old, we don't know if he's been lifting for a couple of years, he's already probably got a little bit of structure and a little bit of base, right? I do know we had a competition here not long ago, and there were a couple of lads who were powerlifters who came down and said they just wanted to jump into Strongman comp, had no idea of how to do any of the events, and we're like, well, how are you training? Oh, we were using dumbbells for farmers walks and stuff like that.
It
doesn't carry over.
No,
so getting somebody who understands the sport, I think, is a big thing. Because again, like you said, at 16, I don't care how much YouTube you're watching, you're probably still dumb as shit. And you're not going to be able to go, oh, okay, this is good. Because you are going to see those videos that's going to go, this will carry over to farmers. Do the dumbbells for fat grips. It's not going to work.
No,
it's not.
So such a different beast.
Totally
so
different.
to be able to, I suppose, seek out the people who have the experience, who are going to have to guide you when it comes to your event training would be a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think as well, it kind of, if it's a case that like you don't actually have strongman equipment to train on, kind of coming back like, to the event beforehand, that, most of you kind of getting stronger is done with actually just kind of like lifting weights and stuff like that. So it's like, you can still do so much that will get you physically strong and maybe you're prepared as much as you can for competition, but fair enough, just the technique might not be kind of down there. But as well, it's just not putting the pressure on yourself as well when you're at that stage of being a novice, of just actually just enjoying the process and not having to expect to win every event and every competition and stuff like that, and trial and error. And you know, as the one thing I always say to young lads when I talk to them is just that you don't hit your peak strength until like, you know, your mid to late 30s. Like, so it's just stop trying to rush to get there now, like, because it's just the faster you try to rush these things, it's usually the faster you're going to screw yourself up. To be honest.
And again, we'll see samples of this down through the years so much. Like Kevin E is a classic example of someone who came on the strongman scene back in the day, who was unbelievable, going to be the next best thing, and just faded away.
Deadlift world record at the age of 21. 410 kilos.
Yeah, biggest ever deadlift.
And just gone then.
At 21, that was it. Like, you know, that's nearly 20 years ago now, I'd say. But disappeared. Like, you'll see samples of it down through the years of these lads that came on really hard in their like late teens, early 20s. And then that's it, they just disappear. They're fucked.
Yeah, there is a lot of good examples of, you know, let's say people starting off in strongman at a young age and still doing very well, like Lexi Novikov and Martin Lises.
Big Z.
Big Z. They came from very, very young ages, but they had good guidance. They, you know, had the right people around them, pushing them in the right direction.
That's key.
Yeah, the key. They weren't just in a regular commercial gym, just winging it every session.
Yeah.
You have to have that bit of structure there, and just, you know, a bit of wisdom around you as well, just to try and kind of control things a bit.
This lad, it's a 16-year-old powerlifter, so I'm assuming if he's a powerlifter, he's probably competed.
I just hope he's done a competition if he's calling himself a powerlifter.
Yeah. So I'm going to assume he's done some comps. He's got a decent base level of strength. Like I said, the next thing to do, if you want to do strongman, you go get a coach and you find access to kit and start learning how to use it with the guidance of a coach, ideally. And like, you don't need a lot, but what you probably need is a farmer, so you can do some loaded carries, like sandbags. So again, front loaded carries. You can do loading with sandbags, stuff like that. And a couple of overhead implements. But if you had like a sandbag and a farmer's, you do a lot with that.
That is, just
you do an awful lot.
The bare nuts and bolts.
Yeah, and just like you could master your push press then on a barbell. Again, not totally different to a log, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to put people off strongman and be like, you need all this kit and you need this, that, and the other. What you really need is, and I think they're easy to access and buy, is a sandbag and a farmer's walk.
Yeah.
You know, a few £100 and you'd have.
Yeah, but also be mindful of the fact it's a 16-year-old.
Yes.
Money-wise, it's expensive.
So, his mum and dad probably get it.
Yeah. But summertime, you go out, kid, now and you get yourself a summer job, and you go buy a sandbag and
also
farmers.
now, like within Ireland, we have more and more gyms that are coming on board that have bits. Even like you've got CrossFit gyms that have stuff around. There's a good few commercial gyms I know of that will have. If you went digging, probably got an old set of farmers knocking around at this stage, or a sandbag.
If you look on adverts and like Done Deal and Facebook Marketplace, you will find a set of farmers for about £100.
Yeah.
And you'll get a good sandbag for £100 as well, like even a Cerberus one or a Strength Register or any of them.
Yeah. And if you were lucky, like the two lads, we had two sandbags disappear.
Yeah.
It'd be worth the investment if you were that serious at that age.
I think so. I think so too. Yeah. I mean, like,
just be patient as well.
Be patient. Yeah, like, you know,
that's the biggest killer for a lot of people in this sport, is actually just being.
I also think as well, being aware of the fact at 16 that the likelihood is at the moment we don't really have a teen category.
We're going to try it next year.
Yeah, we are, but we don't have it at the moment.
Yeah.
And also at 16, even in a teen category of 16 against a 19-year-old, you're probably not going to be doing, unless you're a big monster of a 16 like the two lads we have in here, they're quite savage. Just be prepared to. It's going to be probably a slower road.
Yeah, know your place with it.
Exactly.
You're just doing you're competing for the first few years for experience.
Yeah.
And to learn the ropes.
Yeah.
And if
they
you
need
can
to understand.
If you can take that like novice and learner's mentality for the next few years, and then like have all the experience you could need and want in the next 3 years. By the time you're at the end of your teen years
and you're into juniors,
you'll be in a very good place.
Yeah,
you'll be a dangerous young athlete. Yeah, and then you can really progress from there as well. Like you've loads of time.
Definitely. So kind of move on to the next one. Kind of, as I said, kind of ties in nicely. There's somebody who was asking about frequency of using certain lifts in the gym and kind of variations. So kind of basically they were saying, if you were to like deadlift, say like twice a week or squat twice a week, what would be the best way to do it? And then what kind of variations would you put in? Because, you kind of see some people where it's like, they may be deadlifting twice a week, but they're deadlifting heavy twice a week, and they're kind of doing exactly the same in each one, or kind of squats and stuff like that, and just kind of be more about learning how to be smart with your variations instead of, so you don't end up kind of like, you know, frying your central nervous system or hurting yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways to go about this and answer this, because like you wouldn't deadlift, you know, twice a week and squat heavy 3 times a week and press 3 times a week, because it'll burn you out, and you'll be the exact same.
Yeah.
You'll be less frequent than anyone in here.
Absolutely.
Whereas
Look at John
Ginty,
Oh my God, John at the moment is like a fucking machine.
John can press
4 days a week.
4 days a week if he wanted to. He can squat 3 days a week. He could deadlift.
And it seems to be suiting him.
Yeah,
It is. It suits him so well.
Like for reference, John is, what's John, 27, 28?
27.
27. He's an 80 kilo athlete. He came 4th at UK and Ireland's Naturals. So he's high level. He's standard is go to lifting, but coming up to UK's, I only had him actually training 3 days a week, but he pressed fairly hard each one of them days. He deadlifted fairly hard one day and moderate another day. He would have done some variation squats them days, and then he on 2 of them days, and he trained basically the full comp, like one day heavy and one day like kind of speed work, lighter stuff. Leading into UK's, and he had his best ever performance. He done like twice a week. He would have been training events hard, relatively hard. And like if I gave that to you, you'd die.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
I have no shame. I won't be able for that.
Yeah, you just wouldn't be able for it. But his work capacity is able for that, because I think he's an 80 kilo male. It's not as taxing. The weights aren't as huge as yours are. He's just able to handle it. We just figured that out by like pushing him. I just kept pushing how much I could. I was just like, how far can I keep pushing John here? And he kept going and going and going. And he just kept recovering from it, and training was like nearly better and better all the time. So I was like, okay, let's just fucking keep doing this. I'm going to do the exact same thing for Worlds now. And it seemed to work, but I just know with you that wouldn't work. And I know with you that definitely wouldn't work. Because it's like you can handle half of what John can handle, and she can handle half of what you can handle. You know, but that's just the nature of the beast, because you're an open male. You're same age as John, but you're open. He's nearly half your body weight. Well, not quite, but you know what I mean. Like the load you're moving is so much different, so that's going to have a different effect on the nervous system. Whereas you're a masters athlete, you have years under your belt at this point. You're missing 2 biceps, that doesn't help. And, you know what I mean? Like, you're 47 masters. You've been there, done that. So you can't handle what he's handling.
My break.
His volume that he can handle, because of just the years behind it and your age. It's harder to recover and everything else, hormones and all that.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so you gotta, I suppose, you need a bit more context to answer for this individual person, but
how they work. I think one of the main things there from what you were saying with John as well is like actually having, you know, somebody there who could kind of be observant, and you know, there's a word I can't quite think of it, like, but like you're there checking on to make sure that, like, you know, because like John's the kind of person that like if things were struggling, he wouldn't say it.
He wouldn't know. He's so fucking ignorant.
Supervision, that's what I'm saying. You were there to supervise what was actually going on, so you would know, you know, if it's too much or not. Because he's just, but you get a lot of fucking stubborn people in this sport who will actually just put them through stuff that may actually be dangerous and harmful for them because they're too afraid to, like, oh, if I do this, people might think I'm a bitch or something like that, so I'll just do it anyways, kind of thing. They end up kind of fucking themselves up. Like, so I think having the supervision for a high kind of frequency training like that is probably one of the more kind of key things. Yeah. Especially when you're at that kind of higher level as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like, it was built up over a long period with John. And the thing is, like, John was, like, he was, again, I get to know the athletes so well in here because I see them fucking training 3 times a week. But like, John was throwing bags there, and I could see, like, they just weren't going the regular height. So I was just like, right, I can see that you're not firing all cylinders. You're clearly very fatigued. Now he's in for that was his last session before a deload, so there was going to be, it was kind of expected for things to start slowing down, but like, you could see it. And like, I suppose, I'm at the point where I could see ye squatting and go, ooh, pace isn't there. And like, you're at like 50%. I'm like, right, they're off. They're not as good. So I can see that in ye all and go, right, I need to start pulling things back a bit. It's a bit different with people that are online because you're getting top sets and stuff. But with the people in here, it's kind of easier to try stuff out, I suppose, and maybe push the boundaries a little bit. So I think I'm going off on a bit of
no. I mean, that's definitely it makes sense. Like, it's a very broad kind of subject as well. Like, so it's kind of hard.
I think if I was to like give a broad answer for frequency
and variation,
So
I think that's one of the key things there is talking about variation and frequency. So it's not just should we be deadlifting twice a week, as in conventional deadlift percentages, or should you be doing a variation? So a stiff leg or an RDL versus and your conventional.
Yeah. So yeah, like I suppose again, like
whatever.
if I was to give a broad answer to this, I would say you could handle a deadlift or a hinge variation along with a deadlift twice a week. Most people could handle squatting 2 to 3 times a week, and pressing anywhere from 2 to 4 times a week. But it all depends on the person. But like you said about variation there, if you just back squat 3 times a week, you're probably going to get sore knees. But if you do a back squat, a box squat the next day, and maybe like an overhead squat or a front squat, you're changing the way you're moving, and then you're not going to get as many overuse injuries. So if you change the angles of things and how you do things, it just means you're not going to get as many overuse injuries. Whereas you do the exact same thing over and over again, you're kind of eating into that like overuse road, if that makes sense. Like, and there's a good chance of getting just tendon strains, tendons sore, tendonitis.
Yeah, I suppose like with the way you're kind of like doing it, you'll be trying to push kind of people who are already at kind of the higher end of it to get the better out of them. But I suppose with you, Ayshea, as well, you get a lot of people who come in who are just your everyday kind of person who are trying to just kind of learn and get stronger. Like, so what would you kind of be your kind of approach to it of like, giving people like kind of more frequency on certain lifts?
It'd be, like I said, it's very similar to what we're talking about here. And I said before, we don't reinvent the wheel. We just change things ever so slightly. So like for our experience, so for those beginners, when I have somebody who's coming in straight away, right, who has very little or has had no real structure within the gym, and they're looking to, again, when we talk about getting stronger for regular people coming in here, we're not getting you to lift a house, right? It's about you being a functional human, being able to pick up your kids, pick up your shopping, move your couch, and longevity. I think I was saying the last time, like my youngest member is 15, my eldest is 80, right?
It's crazy.
And he wants to be able to continue doing judo, right?
It's
As a veteran,
nuts,
right?
Yeah,
and
so
I like,
crazy.
he blows my mind, he really does. But like he wants to be able to, it's that longevity. So I will tweak things for him, but his program is twice a week. So he does training twice a week. But in that program, we have deadlifts and we have upper body and we have a form of squats and upper body. And then we've got some single leg work in each. And we have to be careful because at his age, knees, but as he tells me, I was on a roof all day today. And I'm like, you're 8 years of age, what the fuck are you doing on a roof? But YOLO. So again, it's individual, but those fundamentals will come into it. So the likes of, say, John's brother Declan has come into me, or Cheyenne. They're really, really new. They're young. They're fresh. Okay, let's get some volume in there. Let's get you moving. So they would be squatting twice a week. They have upper body twice a week, and they're only deadlifting once a week. But they have an RDL in there as well. So they have that hinge movement. Single leg work, plenty of volume to start off with, and then we're slowing it down as they're coming up to their test. So twice a week, some form of squat, twice a week, some form of upper body, and then the deadlift once a week and some hinge in there as well.
I think just kind of going from what the two you're saying there, I think the biggest thing to look out for would be like not hammering yourself with like high volume at like a heavy weight if you're going to be squatting twice a week. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things I see people do wrong is that like, okay, they're like, I'm going to squat twice a week, but like, one day it might be like fucking 4 sets of 8 and maybe like 70%. And then they might be trying to do maybe 3 sets of 5 at 80% later in the week.
I'd never program something
No,
like
that's what I'm saying. But
Torture.
I think the biggest thing about this would really come down to the percentages and volume wise.
Absolutely.
Because like even what you're saying with John, it was like, fair enough, you're getting them to press multiple days a week, but like a lot of it were just doing like singles and doubles. Like it wasn't like he was going doing like 4 sets of 4 or something like that. Like it was just, it's not realistic. So I think
there's that element of overkill, you see.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And
100%.
like with absolute beginners, when I got to come in, they're being guided by me. So I'm like, okay, I'm trying to educate people as well, so that if they do go away, they do have an understanding of, okay, this is how I should be doing. And if they go to another coach, they should have a good baseline of what is wrong and what is right for safe and productive strength building. So with the likes of that, we work as they've come out beginners, they'll go into like say a next stage which will be into intermediates, and you're working off percentages, and you'll see if you look at any of the programs that we work with, and it's a real basic, like if you're doing your squats twice a week, you might have your regular squat, and then the second day we're saying the front squat. Your percentages are going to be worked out to ensure you're getting your recovery, ensure you're getting maximal benefit from that, and in whatever stage you're in, with your hypertrophy or your peaking or whatever. And that, again, I suppose, either comes from experience or getting a decent coach and understanding that you don't have to squat 3 times a week fucking 90s heavies until you fall over or get stuck. Which again, we've seen that bro science. It's not realistic at all.
Because I think one of the biggest things that when people say kind of when I start coaching them is that they're surprised. Like fair enough, they see they're kind of squatting maybe twice a week or something, but they're surprised that they're starting off at 60%, and they're like, it's trying to get them to actually stick to that 60% and not do anything heavier. And it's like, even if you're on like week 5 or something, you do maybe like a 3x5 at 70%. And it's just like, I know you can do more, but it's like you're going to be squatting again later in the week. And it's just, you got still many more weeks to come. So it's just don't completely blow your load on this now and then we have nowhere else to kind of go ahead. I think that's, so I think kind of really the biggest thing to be looking out for if you were to be, looking to increase your frequency is just be mindful of the volume that you're doing and also the kind of percentages. Like you could even do, it's like slow centric squats or something like that. It's very good. You don't have to go very heavy. You can still get a lot of benefits out of doing something like that as well.
I think something as well that people need to be aware of if you're doing like higher frequency of lifts, don't do high frequency lifts of something that's not biomechanically suited to you. Like if there's someone that's like just not like really long femurs and not built to squat, you're probably not going to do well squatting 3 times a week because that's going to fatigue the shit out of you, because you're probably going to be a forward leaning squatter, maybe a low bar to get the most out of yourself, and then you're going to have to try and deadlift a lot as well. That's kind of a recipe for like overtraining and getting fucking fatigued and having bad sessions. So I suppose you kind of got to look at yourself and go, am I suited to doing something like that regularly? But again, that's something the coach should have an eye for as well.
And I think it's good looking at people individually and just kind of just seeing how they.
I think that's what it comes down to again, is that individuality. So whoever that person is asking that question, if you don't have a coach and you're trying, you're doing things yourself, is go away and have a look at yourself compared to, and don't compare yourself to say Cilllein and go, okay, well Cillein's doing this or John Ginty's doing this. Where do you fall in the weight category? Like the age, your weight, your injury history. Are you in your prime? Are you injury free? Do you want to remain that way? And then look at the program. Okay, am I really fucked? Am I so fatigued that this isn't working? Where are you overloading yourself? And if you do have a coach and you're feeding that back into your coach and they're not coming back to you, then you need to reassess your coach.
100%. Because like the way I kind of see it is like, in my mind, it's like kind of like I can see the formula of getting stronger, and then it's just all you really got to kind of do then is just to look at the person and to just kind of sub in kind of what kind of variation, what exercise needs to kind of go in there. But it is roughly kind of the same thing, but it's just obviously it just has to adapt to kind of fit the person individually themselves. Like it can't be just like a one kind of size fits all with it. But hopefully that kind of answers the person's question anyways. I suppose kind of moving on to some of the other ones, but we had Connor Keogh, actually the man himself, asking to talk about longevity being the goal over quick results, which I suppose kind of does tie in as well.
I suppose we were kind of...
So if anyone doesn't know who Connor Keogh is, he's one of the natural athletes. He won Ireland's strongest natural.
2022, I think.
2022, yeah. And he's somebody that we're hoping to get back.
Dig out of retirement, Connor.
Yeah, if you're listening, Connor.
We had a deal, remember this?
Yeah. We're still waiting for you.
Yeah, so I suppose, again, it goes back to what we were saying earlier about being patient, not trying to rush the process. Young people tend to do that a lot. And then as you get older, it's just understanding...
the whole bits and pieces.
It's understanding how to stay strong, get stronger while you're getting older and your recovery is getting a bit worse. And like we were talking last year about you and only deadlifting every other week now coming up to Worlds. And maybe squatting every other week. If even doing squats, maybe deadlift every other week and do belt squat and take the opposite or something like that, and just do some like, other hamstring work that isn't going to fatigue you so much.
Yeah, that single leg stuff,
If you are struggling with a bit of a thing in your neck that the deadlifts are irritating, so it's like trying to work around that as much as possible while still getting stronger.
Absolutely.
I feel like people don't realise how quickly this sport can catch up on the body. If you're not very smart with it, and you're not like resting and stuff like that, like it won't happen gradually. I feel like it'll just kind of happen suddenly that you'll wake up and be like, I am absolutely fucked from this.
I feel way older than I should feel right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like it certainly like takes the toll. Like, and again, like just kind of talking to my own kind of clients is just the biggest part of thing is just pulling them back, like just because like, exactly. So I know what it's like to be there, but I also know what's coming ahead of them as well. Like,
Absolutely.
So it's just like preparing them for that and kind of getting them mentally ready as physically ready for it.
I think what people don't talk enough about with this as well is like, okay, there's the programming and all that and blah, blah, blah. But like, as you're big, even when you're younger, like just focus on being healthy. So eating better foods, doing some mobility so you move better, trying to get plenty of sleep for your recovery. And I think if you do a lot of that stuff and just try and be a generally better, healthier, well-moving human, that's going to lean into you being able to last longer in the sport. You're very good at that, Cilllein. You do a lot of mobility on your days off.
You go hiking,
you eat better.
you go off and you go hiking and you do shit
that's
like
your active recovery right there. That's healthy as well. That keeps, blood flow and heart healthy, all that stuff.
And stuff like that,
keep a bit of aerobic capacity going too.
Yeah, I kind of feel like there was, I feel like Strongman's leaving it, but I feel like there was definitely kind of a lot of that, that kind of old school kind of powerlifting mentality of just
lift heavy weights.
Yeah, eating burgers and chips before
Sit down,
training,
rest,
and just
rest
you'll be stiff as fuck, like, and just you don't have to look after your diet and stuff like that, like, and I feel like it was fine back then, but I definitely think like now it's like people are kind of starting to wake up for it, like, and even one of the other kind of topics here was just like the effects of losing weight on your strength and technique, speed and recovery.
Did Alex ask that?
No, he didn't. It was actually not a chance. It was actually Jack Harkins. So me and him coming from experience on that one.
Yeah.
It's just being that bit healthier just makes such a difference. And I think maybe it's kind of more so on kind of the open weight side that the kind of unhealthiness kind of comes in a little bit more, like.
Absolutely.
And again, I think that's almost linked into the other question. It's like, mass moves mass, and you have to be massive to do this. And I think we're seeing that shift and trend in like top level strongman.
I think so. Yeah.
Where we see that they're not all big messes.
No.
That, it's just not mass moving mass. You have to be athletic. You have to be able to move.
Yeah, and I think as well, seeing like what is going on in the under 80s men at the moment with just the fucking weights that those fuckers are lifting at the moment. Like, it's, I remember like even like Jer said, it's like a 185 stone isn't that impressive now, because you're seeing lads who are under 80 doing it. Yeah. And it's not impressive for like open weight lads to be doing it. No. And you got people, like Kyle ripping it up, no bother, and even Gav, like, it's just like, it kind of gives the open weights a bit of a kick in the ass.
What the fuck am I at?
Exactly, yeah.
And so it should, because that's what drives the sport.
Yeah. Like it's kind of getting to the point now where the under 80 lads are doing the weights that open weight athletes were probably doing maybe 15 years ago.
10
like
even, maybe.
10, maybe
for some events, like.
Yeah. So it's just
like when you consider that the giants, I know like Kyle loaded over 4 foot, 185, but the Castle Stone run is like up to 180 at Giants Live, right? Now I know it's all higher platforms and all that, but still, he's doing, the last stone is basically the same weight that the open men are doing at Giants Live, and Kyle has loaded that. Like, that's insane.
It is insane, absolutely insane.
But the longevity side of that, which is what was asked.
Right?
No, but this is true, because it links in.
The two of them are linked
together.
People are
they're looking at that and they're going, well, if Kyle Scott's doing that, and he's, how old, 23, 24?
22.
Is he still a junior?
He's still junior.
Yeah.
He's not over 23.
Yeah, but so, okay. What you have to understand from a longevity point of view is you have outliers, right? Not everyone, there's not all Kyle Scotts, right? So you have to be aware of what your body can achieve and how you get there in a paced manner. And trying to rush that, as you said there earlier, it's like you can't, it's not going to happen overnight. People see the tip of the iceberg, but not all the other shit that goes on below it. And Kyle works really, really hard. We know he works hard, but he is an outlier.
Yeah. He is an outlier, but I think that we've, like, Kyle, as young as he is, Kyle's been around for a long time.
He has, yeah.
Like, people don't realise that he's actually, like, I remember his first competition, like, and that was about maybe...
2019, did someone say to me? Liam Shields, I think, was saying.
Yeah,
2019.
I feel like it was just before COVID.
It was, you were right, it was
Ireland, Kilkenny, not
sure.
That was
because I was talking to Leo up at the Battle of Insurance.
He's been, it's because he's so young that people think he's just new on the scene, but, like, Kyle's been putting in the work for a really, really, really long time. And, he's just like, he keeps his head down, and he's training in the back of his house. He doesn't get distracted what other people are doing, like, and I think that's probably one of the biggest things that makes him.
Well, he's actually moved to Aberdeen now, and
is he? I
think
Scotsman now.
Yeah,
Scotsman now.
He is.
Okay,
he's gone to the other side, but he's going to have that. He's going to have a training partner. He's going to have, so that's going to be really good as well.
I think it'll be good
Flynn,
for him,
isn't it?
Finley.
I always put Finley. I always put Flynn. Finley. So that's going to be really interesting to see where those two boys go.
I think so.
Because Finley's a freaking savage as well.
He's stupidly
but
strong.
that longevity side of things, at some point, he's going to have to start getting more picky with his competitions as well. He's still in his prime. He's still growing.
Yeah.
But at some point, he's going to have to go because his lifting age is going to catch up on him.
Yeah, so
for that longevity.
For longevity as well, we're saying, like, you have to at some point become picky with your comps
and pace yourself. And
Or at least pick and choose your comps that you push hard for as well.
Yeah, because when you're young, it's easy to have that pep in your step. But like, you know, I'm 27 now. I can feel it slowly leaving my body. So it's like
it left my fucking body about 18 months ago, mate.
Yeah, I mean, you wake up and it's just gone. Like, so it's, you know, just have to be being mindful of that as well. Like, and you know, I think as well, just going with the longevity, just what I've noticed from just losing the weight, like, has just been phenomenal. To be honest, it's like in so many different ways. Like, and I could even talk to Alex now, a training partner. He's kind of got on to my nutritionist as well, and he's
bodybuilding butcher.
Richard Scott, just a shout out there for you.
Yeah, he's and he like Alex he's anxious that he's told me, oh, I'm going to get small, I'm going to get weak. It's
Bigorexia,
like, literally, like, and I know, like, you know, I was definitely the same way when Richard got me on that, because I was down a full 1,300 calories, and, you know, feeling very, very hungry and just genuinely freaking out, like, coming into the gym and stuff like that. But you know, it took a week or two for the body to normalize. Like, but now it's just like I can sleep better, I can recover better, my mood is better, my speed is better, my technique is better. So it's just like, you know, I was 145 and now I'm down to 130. Like, and it's just like I haven't gotten any weaker. And Jack's literally the same way. Like, and
again, the fucking
because I was like, I was difference. So like, I was definitely like, you have to be honest with yourself when you're actually unhealthy, because there's a lot of people, I think, in open weights, probably both strongman and powerlifting, that are just in complete denial of they think that they're healthy, but they're not. Like, no.
And it doesn't matter. Like, you even if you turn around, I know this has been said before, you get your bloods done and all your cholesterol's fine and all this is your hormones fine or whatever. That's fine. What about the physiological effects on your joints and your tendons and everything else? Because not only are you carrying around this extra 40, 50 kilos of weight, you're then shifting, trying to move with another 200 kilos of weight on you? How is that actually healthy? That's not healthy for, and again, we talk about heart, you're talking about heart health and you're talking about like diabetes and all these other things, but your actual joints. That's
why that's one thing I actually did notice. My knees felt a lot better once I actually kind of lost that bit of weight.
That extra weight,
You know, even just doing stuff like just tying your shoelaces, like, it doesn't feel like my head's going to blow up. Like, doing it,
out of breath trying to
literally, like, your head goes down and you just feel like pulsing and stuff like that. Like, but you know, in my mind, it was just like, you know, I'm big, so I'm therefore stronger. Like, but just like. But even then, I didn't even think I was that big, and it was not until like when I look back on videos, I'm like, fucking hell! Like, it's kind of scary to see.
It's funny because I again, looking back at videos of you that time as well, I never seen that you were kind of pudgy. Like, your face was very.
I know, it was so watery. Like, there was a video I have where I was like doing a farmers, and I was just so jiggly, like, and like back then I thought I was class, like, you know, with the shape that I was in. Well, just it's kind of embarrassing to look back and just kind of realize that you just kind of get lost in it. I think. You know, you just get so obsessed on just like, it's like the more food I eat, the better I'm going to be for this training session, and it's just like like.
I sent you a photo I found of me I was probably still competing. I think it was just when COVID just started. I sent it to you a few weeks back, and my face was just swelled out. I was like, what the fuck? I was about 120 kilos, which I had no business ever being. 5'8".
5'6".
5'8". Like, it's just, it was amazing. But at the time, I saw nothing wrong with it. Like, it was senseless.
Senseless. Because there was actually somebody else that put in as well about, they were talking about breathing when it comes to like bulking and stuff like that, and saying how, like, you know, their breathing was getting a bit more erratic and stuff like that. Like, and
you're getting too heavy, man.
You're too heavy, man. You're getting way too heavy.
Before we even started, we were just saying about sleep apnea. And how big that is in the strongman world. You know, I suppose before it was only ever really talked about powerlifters, but now. I
feel like it shouldn't be as prevalent in strongman as powerlifting. And it may not be as much as powerlifting, because you should be well conditioned. You should be able to go hard. Your anaerobic capacity should be fucking high.
But it's not even that. But like, there are some people who just genetically, like for me, for example, when I do it, it's the fact that my tongue just falls back on my throat and it just blocks my airways. So it's like, it's not even like, even since I've lost weight, it still happens. Like, and even when I was like 105 kilos, I still had the same problem.
So if that's the case, the CPAP won't help you, will it?
It would, because it'll force oxygen kind of into my airways. Like, whereas like when it's not, it's just kind of, everything kind of gets stuck. And, and plus just kind of like when you get weight around your nose and stuff like that, just the sinuses, like just the weight in your face and just block everything. Because you're essentially just struggling to survive when you're sleeping. Like, you're just battling to breathe in oxygen. Which, you know, like, I know a lot of people. I'm trying to get one myself, like, but I know people have gotten. I said they have noticed a big difference. Obviously, it's not ideal, like, but I'd rather that than slowly give brain damage over the next 20
it's not only that,
30 years.
it's your cardiovascular health. It's
the other side of
you're
it.
more susceptible to heart disease and to stroke if you're not getting enough oxygen during your sleep, and sleep apnea has been linked to that. So
we must actually ask Jack tomorrow how much better he feels asleep as now since he's lost like 25 odd kilos or whatever it is.
I think it was more than that.
Was it more than that?
30 kilos, I think.
Yeah. Oh, it would have been actually.
155. I think Jack at his lowest was 126 or 125.
Yeah, that's the 30
but look,
kilos.
Jack is still stronger than ever.
Yeah.
He done like 4 reps at 320 raw, no belt.
Yeah.
Deadlift like not that long ago and everything like.
But see, that's what the whole thing about the weight. You know, you're saying about mass moving mass and all this stuff, right? But bigger is better. But if your belt doesn't fit you properly, or you have to move your position where you naturally deadlifting because you've got so much girth. He's after lifting that beltless. He's lost this 30 or 40 kilos, so his position is better. He can breathe better. We were saying that about his stones as well. Like, how are you supposed to, like,
how are you supposed to get the
big
stone
you
there
are,
when
a
it's
stone
there,
or a sandbag, you're fighting with that. I know if I put on a couple of kilos heavier, I'm fucking struggling with the sandbag. As soon as that difference of 2 kilos makes a huge difference.
Huge, I
so
know.
30 kilos is going to make a massive fucking difference. Like,
I noticed on my deadlift position when I lost the weight, it was just much easier. I wasn't like fighting in myself, and I didn't feel as crushed, kind of crushed in on myself.
Especially if you're in a suit, I think that's worse again.
Fuck those things.
Yeah, and I think that's where Alex is probably going to understand that is when you lose that weight, especially if it's around that middle area, when that comes off, that weight that you don't need is going to find life way easier.
Gets better. I think it's just having the trust and actually kind of like losing that little bit, because.
And the thing is, if you're losing a lot of weight, like say when Jack lost massive weight, you're not going to feel strong going into the gym, and you're not going to be as strong when you're losing massive amounts of weight and your calories are low, but just because you're not fueling yourself as well as you could.
Yeah, that's exactly.
But once the weight is off and you can start fueling again, everything just starts clicking again. Your strength comes back right away. Like,
I mean, like, even if you look at Eddie Hall, like fair enough, Eddie Hall, like he's about my height, 196 kilos, but he wasn't healthy. He knew he wasn't healthy, and that's the reason why he had to retire when he did. Like, and that's something a lot of people need to take in consideration because, like, you know, some people think that I have to eat like Eddie Hall. They're like, oh, you must be eating 10,000 calories. I'm like, no, like, I'm only 6'2", like, and like, you know, 5.5 is it's more than enough. Like, and say, if you look at the guys who are at the top now, like the only one who's really like fat would be Iron Bibi, but like Iron Bibi is still extremely athletic at the same time. But you don't see him doing that many kind of full shows, like. But if you look at like, you know, people who are
he's barely a full strongman.
Exactly, like. It's fair. Like, it's if you look at people who are doing the full shows at open weight now, none of them are like none of them have fat hanging down, or none of them are kind of struggling to kind of breathe doing stuff. Like, they're all fair enough. They're big men, like, but they're athletic. It's always good weight on it. Like, it's. You're not going to kind of see it as much as you would have kind of back in the day, and I think it's just breaking down that kind of old mentality that kind of has so many people by the throat.
Absolutely, 100%. Couldn't agree anymore.
So, is there anything else anybody wants to talk about before we finish up? Anything coming up to mention? So the Strength Cup's coming up too.
The Irish Strength Cup. I think we'll have this out before that. If anyone's listening, get your tickets. There's loads sold already. I'm really happy with the attention it's getting and all that.
Definitely,
we've got 12 strong dudes. Another one, some Polish guy entered last night.
Oh yeah,
from Poland.
That's class.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
so
nice.
We're going international, guys.
Yeah, that's really cool.
We do have UK competitors coming over already. Obviously, there's Ben Zachary in the men, Becca and Molly
and Molly,
in the women. So we've 10 women, 12 men. I mean, it's the best of the best lineup. Like, it's class. I'm really excited for it.
And you're back in.
Venue's obviously unreal.
I'm back in.
Back in. Managed to pull ourselves together the last few weeks.
I told Ayshea, if you two win, it'll be great because I won't have to pay the prize money.
I'm telling you, I swear to God,
I said to him,
I said, with the two of us, we'll just pin him down.
Pin him down, beat the fuck out of him.
Cheeky bollocks.
Save me like $2,000. Nice.
No, for the first time, I'm only there to take part for the crack because haven't trained in. Last night I trained was for the first time in 4 weeks. So
don't want to miss it anyways. Like, just
absolutely, I'm not going to miss it. It doesn't matter.
Taking part of it, really.
Absolutely, and at this stage, I'm not going to.
Yeah, it's going to be a great occasion. Like, and I think. Sure, might as well throw it out there now. We've a live stream sorted for it as well.
Oh yeah.
Unbreakable Media are going to be coming over.
So is it going to be on YouTube or is it going to be on
YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube. Okay.
Is that free? Lovely,
Nice.
free.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah. I'm trying my best to keep them free. This is something when Mark was around as well. The plan was always to try and keep as many as we can free and do as much as we can. So I think it being the first Irish Strength Cup in his honour, I think it's important
Definitely.
to keep it free.
So. Yeah, definitely.
So I think then for everyone out there who's listening to this, and if we can try and get this out obviously before the Strength Cup because it will make the best amount of sense. If you can't be there, go onto the live stream.
Yeah.
And share the live stream, share the information, share the reels that we're putting out there. Let's get the word out there. It's in a wicked location.
Yeah.
And hopefully the weather will be good enough and people can come down and from
and if it happened to be shitty weather, there is a contingency plan in place. There's like a massive circus tent, I'd call it, on site that they use for events that we can move the competition to. Unfortunately, you wouldn't have the castle backdrop for all your events then, but if it happened to be torrential rain, we have a contingency in there in place. And like again, if you're looking ahead at the week and you're like, oh, it's going to be pissing rain, we are going to.
So if you're holy, can you please put Charles of Prague's out, right? Because we don't want no rain.
No rain at all.
July 13th should be alright.
Yeah. And yes.
But yeah, there'll be plans in place if it's looking like it's going to be a bad weekend. So, and then after that, Natural Worlds, which I'm so excited for these next two
Buzzings for this is going to be class.
Yeah, we got 125 entries so far.
Nice.
And
That's unbelievable.
And like you always get a burst at the end of people panicking and paying. Oh, I forgot to pay. There's messages coming in as well. People
I think we got like 6 entries from Australia.
No, 9 now.
Wow.
9
Holy
entries from
fuck. That's
Australia.
Camilla hasn't entered. She messaged this morning. She'll be number 10.
Yeah, that's insane,
wow.
man. Like, absolutely.
South Africa. There's entries confirmed from South Africa, all over America, Canada. 18 countries I counted last night.
No, it's 18.
It's just
18.
When you like this is going to be an actual world
proper
championship,
worlds, yeah.
Proper.
I was looking at some of the
championships.
categories. Like I think the 64s. There's 2 Irish in it, but the rest are like everyone's from a different country.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just nuts. Like it's basically like there's no like fuck it. You go to WHEA, right?
It's Finnish nationals. It's guests. That's what it is. I was going to say it. I was like, if you can say it, I'm going to say it.
It's Finland. A load of Finnish people, a load of people from the UK, and a couple of other odd countries. Whereas like this is like real.
This is a real proper world champ. But even
trying not to say it.
But even from an OSG perspective as well.
Yeah.
This has probably got the similar, if not more, of a mix of nationalities.
OSG Worlds is America, Canada, and a handful of guests.
You're still going to see like a massive amount of people from the UK. But like it's close to the UK. It's the UKNS started. That's the pathway it started with. So there is still a massive in the UK and Ireland. Like everyone that qualified is going to come over because it's so close. So you will still have a lot of that. But that's a mix of 4 countries still. They got 3 countries. Sorry, you got Wales, Scotland, England. Then you have Ireland who qualify through UK and Ireland as well, obviously. But yeah, it's not just going to be like
1 country plus guests.
Well, exactly. It's there's still a massive spread there. Like. So I'm super excited.
Hell of a competition.
Yeah. Very, very excited. So I think
so. We'll wrap that up.
Wrap it up, yeah.
Yep.
You got to open this gym, I think, now, do you?
Yeah, I told him we've got a sign on the door. Yeah, we're good.
Don't annoy us.
I've got a podcast happening.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
Right. Thanks very much, everybody.
Cheers, guys. Bye.